I have now reached the stage where I can start assembling all the parts for the DC generator build. I have to glue this magnet inside the housing, and I'm going to use super glue. The paint has finally dried on the castings, so we're ready to assemble the model DC generator. But before I do, a word or two about the magnets. Because this housing is made out of cast iron, it's a magnetic material, and when the magnets are glued to this housing, it increases the strength of the magnet. Not everyone can cast iron, so if you're using a non-magnetic material, you will lose some of the strength of the magnet. The next point to watch out for is the positioning of the brushes in relation to the magnets. This is where it was on the original motor, where I pulled it out, and you need to do it exactly the same way for the generator to work. There is one final point to look out for. Those little brass strips that are bent over, they must not touch anything metallic, and to provide for that I've made a little plastic strip so it insulates and it cannot touch anything metallic. Just a quick check with the multimeter. Going to make sure that the brush assembly is not touching anything on the housing metallic, so we put one probe on here. That brush is okay, and we put one on that one. It's okay. The brush assembly has now been put on the shaft. Now we need to put on pulley. And our little nut. And tighten it up. And now we push this assembly into the magnet housing, but it can be a bit tricky because of the magnets. Now we can put on the rear end cover. Everything's turning okay. It's ready to go. Now I'll give it a quick test before I install it with the steam engine. We've got a little Christmas light globe and if you run it clockwise, it generates a nice voltage. Then you go back the other way, generates as well, but it's at a different polarity. This is the model steam engine I've built. It's running on compressed air. It's a 3-cylinder radial. We'll crank it up a little bit. This is the first load test for the model generator. I'm going to use a bank of Christmas tree lights. I don't really want to go above 6 volts, but we'll see what happens. And we've got a multimeter there to measure the voltage. It easily reached 5 volts. The generator wasn't even working, so I might have to put a bigger load on it. This is the second load test for the model DC generator. I will be using a 50 watt 12 volt halogen globe. It is next to the multimeter. We'll put some air through it and see what happens. It was quite impressive, that 17.5 volts, so it's still not enough load for the generator. This is the third and final test with the DC generator. I'm going to use a radio and put the raw DC into the radio. I suspect the choppy waveform will distort the sound and make a lot of interference. We'll give it a test and see what happens. Actually, that was a lot better than I thought, but if it's a distant radio station, it'll probably be really bad, the interference.